Hello, hi. I just did a quick test, so fingers crossed this works. I'm not wasting my time. Hi, Patti. How are you doing? Good. I hope your bum's okay and everything's going well. As promised, this is just a quick video message. While I've got 10 minutes, it's been pretty hectic here, so I'm a bit knackered. So you'll have to excuse me, but I've been meaning to do this for a little while. So, I wanted to go through with you our sort of ideas and our concept for the ITI conference in 2017. So, as I haven't prepared, you have to excuse me if this is a bit bitty, but here goes. The date is the thing we haven't got yet, but we will have it in the next 3 days. We've decided, we've aimed to do it by the next 3 days. Okay. So we're thinking, I'll email you these, what I'm reading from. We're thinking that we were thinking about name first of all, so we thought, we noticed that Mitico had the ITI in it and that was cool, so we went through like every name that had that ITI in it, and we're sort of tied up between two. The first one is Initiate 2017 with the ITI in the middle. Initiate the Dubai Impro Fringe and ITI Conference, or Drama in the Desert, or some subheading underneath it. Now, one of the things that came up here was, as we've decided to do a festival and the conference, how does it work with the billing? Because obviously we want to give both of them equal footing, 50% sort of each. So it doesn't turn into, oh, there's a festival here and we've bolted the ITI conference on the top. But by the same rationale, we don't want people that would come for a festival to feel alienated because 80% of it is the ITI conference. So we thought about separating them, and for various reasons we thought we'd like to, and all this is up for discussion, we'd like to do them simultaneously, actually, both together, and we think we've worked out a way to schedule it where that will work, rather than treating them as two sort of separate entities. So the second name is, and this is my personal favourite, because there were 5 or 6 of us and we'd all got different thoughts sorting this out, is Dualities 2017, Dubai Impro Fringe and Theatre Sports Conference. So the thing is, it sounds a bit pretentious, I think, Dualities, and a bit hippie-esque, and it's certainly not something that I would have chosen. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought it really suited what we were doing here, particularly with doing a festival and the ITI conference together. Not only that, but it would give us an angle, which I think some festivals lack actually. They're like a festival and people go to the same workshops as they've done elsewhere. And we thought we could have a focus on two-person work, or two-prof. Not an overwhelming, like the only thing we do there is two-prof, but it could be something that, it could be an angle to have. This is a two-person work, or two-prof is going to get a really fair amount of attention there. I think that's quite good because it's quite accessible as well to do that type of work. So Dualities 2017 was the other one, and there's our sort of notes and plan, and that's probably back to front, isn't it? Because a mirror, probably, I don't know. So yeah, we were thinking about the name, and we'll make a decision on that very soon. We know the immediate thing is the date, and we're slacking on that a bit. But we're sort of waiting on some other information before we finalise it. It's going to be the first week of November. I'm 90% sure on that. Right. What we were also thinking was, in the regard that we wanted to do a festival as well as as the ITI conference at the same time, we were thinking it would be really nice to have at least 5 people from the ITI. So this is totally prospective. It's not even a wish list. It's just theoretically. If we were to have as people to come in, Sean Kinley, Patti Stiles, Steve Jarrand, Philippe Ortiz and Dennis Cahill, or something like that, some variation on that, and also Joe Bill, Jill Bernard, Dan O'Connor, Heather and Joe, a couple of the cast of Ostentatious. We thought one of the features that we could have is, as well as these guys, whoever we get, being split equally, not necessarily from different schools, but certainly I think we'd look for 4 or 5 people ITI with ITI pedigree, if you like, for the conference side of things, and as well as everyone delivering workshops. There could be an element in the evening, we'd like to do this, where people do, these guest improvisers, these 10 or so that we're going for, do 2-prov with each other. And Sean even gave me the idea that I think it'd be really good, especially if it was names out of a hat sort of thing on the night, even, or something like that. So you could end up with Joe Bill and, I don't know, Philippe Ortiz doing their half-hour 2-prov, and then Patti and Dan O'Connor. But it wouldn't even need to be like that. There's no reason why Dennis Cahill, for instance, couldn't do a 2-prov with Philippe, or Dan O'Connor with Jill Bernard, or something like that. So it wasn't at all, again, about pitting different schools against each other, but we just thought that if we were to call it dualities, with a focus on being a festival and ITI conference, with us focusing on 2-prov work, and with 2-prov show every single night, randomly picked out the hat, possibly, that would really lend itself well to the theme or the angle that we were taking. And that's the perspective sort of thing that I was thinking about. Not very articulate, sorry, it's late at night. Yeah, so we go name first, yin yang for dualities, and then the 10 or so teachers that we're after. It would be cool to get Keith Johnson to do a Q&A conference call on the big screen I've got here, and we would like to play all of the formats, Maestro Theatre Sports Guerrilla and the Life Game. I know the Life Game is a more difficult one, or some variation, the Shell Game, but I have to say that I think that's a compromise, which is daft given that it's only on for 2 years and you've got all of these ICI guys here. I think we should play the Life Game. But in terms of content, we don't need to finalise it now, but every single evening there will be in one of the key slots, like the 9 to 10 or the 2 hours. The ITI format will get 2 hours on every single evening in a key slot in the main venue. So no worries there. We're looking at 6 days, 24 hours of workshops. This is how we'd advertise it. It won't be 6 days for the workshop leaders. 6 days featuring 24 hours of workshops with your pick of the instructors and the content. So each of these 10 teachers, improvisers will offer something that they want to do, that they specialise in, and it'd be great to have some more alternative stuff as well, like mask work rather than the bog standard, character or so it'd be good to get some niche stuff done, I think, especially with this kind of skill set we're going for. But if you're a consumer, because we spoke to a few guys who do the festival tour, and they said the best practice was when they felt they were getting the most out of the workshops was when they had the same teacher for consecutive days. So rather than sort of make some overcomplicated schedule, we thought of this as our starting point. You pick 2 improvisers or 2 teachers or 2 courses, and you spend 3 days with each. We've even gone as far as to do a sort of a schedule. So if I were taking this, I might go, right, well, I'm going to go with Patti for the first 3 days, and then I'm going to go with Joe Bill for the next 3 days. It'll be 4 hours a day of workshops. So for instance, I'll go through the schedule in a minute, because I know that some of the festivals conferences are a lot more intense than that, but I'll go through the schedule and reasoning in a minute for that, because it's on another piece of paper and I want to finish off this piece of paper first. So that's the premise. So 6 days, 24 hours of workshop with your pick of instructor content, first come first served, workshop classes of 10 guaranteed, no more than that. We were all very emphatic about that. We want quality rather than quantity. 18 shows and performances across the 6 days. So 6 days, 24 hours of workshop, 18 shows and performances, community events, wadi bashing, sightseeing, 2 open air evenings in the desert minimum. So our opening show and our show at the end are going to be in a Bedouin camp under the stars with a stage lit by fire and with a bar, which is a big deal here because remember we haven't got a bar at the venue. So to be able to offer those people who like a drink with their improv that on a couple of occasions, that's something that we thought was nice. So improv in the desert, drama in the desert. Now we're deliberating because after we had this meeting we had another discussion with the dualities theme of doing the first half at the theatre and the last half at this desert camp. So literally we split it down the middle, which could be a bit of a laugh. We haven't made much progress on that, but it's a point for us to talk about, and I think it would be bloody brilliant to do half of it in a theatre in this fucking modern, industrialised, cosmopolitan Dubai city, and then to go for the second 3 days into the desert. Accommodation all arranged because they've got special camps where you can do this. Special camps. They're nice camps, and we've been to them and checked them out before, and really nice, like mountains to climb by the beach, surfing. So really dualities. See, in the city, in a desert. On the roads, in the sea. Downloaded? Yeah? Okay. Right. So yeah, all very conceptual at the moment, but actually, when I send you this, you'll see that it can't cohesively sort of makes sense. This is like a provisional, like mini poster, if you like, sort of thing. Yeah. So nothing decided, but that's that. I'll email you that. I've got a list here, I'm just going to read it out. Workshop, class size is 10. Yep, teenagers. We haven't worked out how to involve them there. I think this is the agenda for our next meeting, but we want to big time, and we'd very much like to forge links with either the Canadians, Americans, Norwegians, Australians, anyone that gets a grant of any description to come over and fight against, not fight, to play theatre sports in our tournament, which we will hold in the preceding week. Because then it truly is international. If we can get, even if it was from one country, we can get another theatre sports team kids over. Anyway, that's for probably our next meeting here. We want to get groups and individual teachers. We're going to work out our approaches, which are individual teachers. We're going to contact December, January. By the latest at January, all of the teachers we're going to contact would have been contacted tactically. Some with handwritten letters, old school, and some not. For group, we've got a budget for them as well, and rather than I did a lot of research into how people do this, and it's too complicated. So we're going to say, well, this is how much money we've got, and we'll give it to you, and we'd love you to come over, and there'll be an extra allowance for those people whose airfare is more, and if they can, they can, and if they can't, they can't. But we're not going to do sort of different wage packets for different people, because I don't think it's about that. We're going to say, this is what we can do, and from what I can gather, it's sort of in the sort of normal range, maybe even a little bit more. Obviously, accommodation, all that stuff supplied. And yeah, I can't remember how much it is yet at the moment, but I have got it written down on another document somewhere. I'll run it by you when we Skype. For groups, I spoke to a couple of people. They said they never get paid. Sometimes you just invite them and they're just like, yeah, we'll come. And sometimes they might ask you for something. So for groups, because obviously we can't afford for groups, airfare for groups of people, accommodation for groups of people, we're going to throw an invite out there and see what happens, an open invite to groups to perform at this thing and see what happens there. It's not actually essential for us to have groups at the conference, we don't feel, or the festival, but if they wanted to come, that's fantastic, especially if they were super duper. And we'll just put that out there, see what happens. Participants, we were thinking of, again, quality rather than quantity. I just got a message from one of the cast of Robin Hood. We've got an all-dayer tomorrow, and she's made banana and choc chip muffins, so we're good for tomorrow morning. 75 slots, maybe even 60. We're thinking about making this. Originally we were like, yeah, let's do the biggest thing ever. And now we're thinking, let's make it really, really good quality and not too, murderously complicated, and just so people walk away from this, if you don't mind me saying so, differently from what they did a minute ago, which was, I wouldn't say dissatisfied, but thinking it was a bit sloppy. But they come away from this going, wow, that was tight, well organised, the content was good, the class sizes were small, great experience. So we're thinking of limiting it for that reason, and we've only got a certain amount of resources ourselves anyway in terms of people power, and once you start going over 100 it starts getting difficult, also to put forward that capital, which we're going to have to, once it gets more than 100 people it gets a little bit more complicated and risky. We feel if we put up the money for 60-75 people and it was a complete washout, we wouldn't have to sell our house, but any more than that it might be problematic. Accommodation, can't remember why I've written that down, probably needs discussing. We did do the figures, we went through the figures, we're good. I'll come back to that in a minute. I've just seen some figures down here. Venues, we're looking at 3 or 4 venues running simultaneously for the workshops, 1 or 2 for these shows. Scheduling to do next meeting, marketing, next meeting, advertising, registration, community stuff, specifics, what we're doing, because we really like a program for of sightseeing, that sort of thing, and community-based stuff while we're here. We talked about videography as well, as for any groups that come over. We thought about, and I'll speak to you about this in more depth, there's not many video resources of Maestro theatre sports being played properly. We struggled with that big time, ended up watching a group from France online, and that's how we learned how to play until Jeff and yourself came over. And so what an opportunity for where we've got these players over, 5 hopefully guys from the ITI, to from Loose Moose or whatever, to make a video, a proper, well recorded, beautiful picture video. Hey, this is Maestro and these are the guys playing it at their conference. I think that might help the spread of, it might help this great thing that we do spread. Certainly, we could have really done with something like that. It would have helped us markedly. Logistics. So for our agenda for next time, we meet, not you, we as our sort of organising committee, there's 5 of us. Logistics, live stream, finances, community, registration, advertising, marketing, scheduling, venues, accommodation, participants, groups, individual teachers. So it's pretty simple stuff. Right, accommodation and flight subsidy, €1,500 question mark is what I've got down here for individuals. So, Mr. Joe Bill, I hope you're listening, or Jill, or yourself, and I hope that's the kind of figure we were looking at. Obviously, accommodation is included, so you don't pay your accommodation out of that. I'm not sure about the flight yet, but yeah, so €1,500 per teacher, so something like that is what we're looking at the moment. You'd only be teaching for 4 hours per day for 6 days, and then shows in the evening, and we'd ask everyone to offer a round table that was sort of, for the ITI guys, ITI based round table, like, I don't know, building your theatre sports community, the good ones that were in Wurzburg. And then for the people who are not ITI, we'd ask them to offer like a round table on, I don't know, managing theatre finances, something for people who are non-performers, basically, because we would have liked that, and it was in Wurzburg. All shows are going to be free entry for workshop participants, and possibly for everyone. We might make them free. We don't make much money on gate anyway. We don't want to risk anything, because and with the authorities, and they're sometimes quite funny about charging people to get in, and so we just probably won't risk it. So our entire money will be based on what we charge for the package, accommodation, workshops, and shows, whatever. This is our provisional schedule. Yeah, just remember that. Cool, got it? Yeah, okay, brilliant. Day 1, day 2, exclusively for teachers. So you get to play with whichever 10 people we get over, who are going to be the workshops. Day 1 and day 2, you have the theatre to yourselves, whatever you want to do, and we'll be organising the stuff, and you guys get to, I don't know, play, practice, work stuff out, share ideas, practices, I don't know. But I think you mentioned that would be something you'd like. Sean did, and Bart did as well. I know he's not in that bracket, but it seemed to me that was something that was really required, rather than people rushing in. Day 3 will be a welcome meeting in the morning, followed by the first 4-hour workshop. So if I choose Jill Bernard, I got my 4-hour workshop, and then it will be our opening night show. The shows will go like this. In our main venue, there'll be one show from 8 PM to 10 PM, so it'll be 2 hours for the ITI shows. 10 to 11 will be one of the two provs, or two 30-minute two provs. 11 PM will be a slot for a group to put something on, and then at 12 we'll do a midnight mass, and we'll do that every night just as a chance for participants to get up on the main stage and play. Now, we don't expect it to be full for 5 hours, but this is a nice way to get everyone on stage, and every night that's a lot of shows. So again, 8 PM to 10 PM. These can change, so the ITI doesn't always have to be 8 to 10. The first night we could play theatre sports, 8 PM to 10 PM, featuring 10 to 11 two prov, featuring 11 o'clock, I know, ostentatious, and that's optimistic, I know. 12 o'clock, midnight mass, woo! And the next day it could be 8 PM to 9 PM two prov, 9 PM to 11 PM maestro. So that way the ITI gets, so the International Theatre Sports Institute don't feel that they're getting a bum slot, or the festival goers don't feel like they're being, you know what I'm saying? It's flexible. Yeah. I guess that was a long-winded way of saying we alternate the slots. That is kind of where we were at. Dualities, lots of dual stuff, ITI dualities, and we've got a follow-up meeting planned. I'm going to send you this. I'm very optimistic about it. The dates are the first thing we need. We are sure that we are going to go from in fact, I'm going to pick the dates now. I'm sure we're going to go from, oh, I can't, shit. We're going to go from a Sunday probably from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Probably from a Sunday. Don't know. I haven't worked that out yet. We did work that out, but I've forgotten, and it's not on this piece of paper. But the Wurzburg conference is the 24th to the 29th of October. We're going to go straight after that, and so we just have to decide on the best. I think we should do it the first. People finish work on Friday, right? And then they want to travel Friday, Saturday, and then it wants to start on Sunday. So I feel we should start on the first Sunday after the Wurzburg Festival, which finishes on the 29th of October. So I'm going to check my calendar now, and let's do this. Let's not mess around. We're going to go for, I'm going right into 2017 now. Alright, so Wurzburg finishes at, on the 29th, it's a fucking Sunday, worst day it could have been, shit. So I think what we'll do is Friday will be the teacher first day one, so you travel, you come here on the Thursday, you travel, you Friday, Saturday, teacher playtime, instructor play. Sunday, the dudes come, all 75 people, and so I feel the festival will be from the 29th until the 3rd. The conference, the ITI conference, will run from the 29th to the 3rd. Yeah, I think that's where we're at. So we'll wait before we confirm to speak to you and hear your thoughts on that. But if it finishes on the 29th, it makes sense to start it after a weekend. The next weekend is the Friday the 3rd and 4th. and then participants can finish their work, travel on Saturday and take the week off on Sunday. It's the perfect week for weather here. It's perfect, and so that's where we are with dates. Bart spoke to Tiffany about websites. Yeah, I think that we're just under 2 years away. We've got our concept, so it's time to discuss it, get that date down, and that's where we'll go from here. But from our side, I'd say we're on top of things. Dates, and then a list of people that we'd like to headline the event. And I hope you can help us with that. We find out who they are, we contact them December, January. We negotiate between then and the whole summer season. We negotiate, and then in June we will announce it 15 months before with our full lineup, and that's sort of when we'll go live with June 2016, where we'll go live with a full sort of marketing, advertising campaign. Ta-da! I apologise for having to listen to me for 26 minutes, but at least it saves you listening to me when we Skype. So I'm going to sign off now. It's been lovely chatting, and I will email you this as well. Goodbye, Patti, and I look forward to seeing you really, really soon. Bye, bye. Download. Awkward Skype moment.